Welcome to the fourth video of our series. In this section, we're going to be talking about trusts. So you've already heard about our big three, the will, the power of attorney, and the healthcare proxy. We're going to be moving into a subject that's a little bit more complicated when we're talking about trusts. But don't worry, I'll explain everything, I'll get you through it. Lots of people ask what trusts are, and are they only for rich people? So first of all, no, trusts are not just for rich people. They can be of use to people of a variety of different income levels. Now at Monteforte Law, we do focus and specialize in higher net worth families, so trusts are a lot more prevalent, but they can be useful to almost anyone. So what is a trust? A trust is a legal entity that is designed to hold money and disperse that money at a later time. Lots of people ask if they need a trust if they already have a will to disperse their money. So think of it like this. A will is a one-shot deal. The will says, if I'm dead, give my money to A, B, and C. That money is dispersed, and that's the end of story. So everything happens all at once. Trust distributions happen over time. So instead of dispersing everything at once, the trust has provisions that state when and how the funds are to be distributed, but they are over certain periods of time. They can be a set amount every year. They can be broken up in yearly increments. We do lots of family trusts, for example, for folks that have children that are under 18. If someone passes away and has children under 18 and they leave them everything in their will, then we're talking about potentially large sums of money going to children, or even someone that's 18 to 21 that doesn't have experience dealing with high values. We use the family trust to make sure that those individuals don't inherit everything lump sum. Instead, we break up the distributions over time. We name someone else to be in charge, and that person is called the trustee. The trustee is in charge of the money and distributing the money the way that the trust terms set out. So if we've got someone that's maybe 18, 19 years old and a trust is to disperse money to them over time, we might give them a third of their inheritance when they're 18, a second third when they're 21 or 23, and the rest of it when they're 25. So we've given them a little bit at a time so that they can learn how to manage money as opposed to inheriting it all at once. And we've got this third party, this trustee, who's involved to help make sure the money is used for what it was designed to be used for and doesn't get spent all at once. For example, I've got a 16-year-old son. If I left him everything all at once, he'd go buy Ferraris and all kinds of exotic cars and then not have money to pay for college. So we use the trust to make sure that that doesn't happen. That's a family trust. From there are a variety of different trusts. There's really 100 different kinds that we could talk about for days on end, but I'm going to explain some of the more prevalent and more common types of trusts. For married couples, we use what's called a credit shelter trust to help minimize estate taxes. So here in Massachusetts and in many other states as well, you're taxed even when you're dead. So they don't get enough money from you while you're alive. They assess what's called a death tax or an estate tax based on how much money you have when you pass away. And the more you have, the higher the estate tax is. A credit shelter trust is a tool that we use for married couples to help minimize those estate taxes. We can have a situation where a married couple can have up to $2 million in assets, and we can reduce that estate tax to zero. Take that same couple with $2 million in assets without a credit shelter trust, they're going to pay a $90,000 estate tax bill. So it can make a huge, huge difference to the amount of money that your beneficiaries will receive when you pass. Another type of trust that we use is called a life insurance trust. Again, that's a tool that we use to help with estate taxes. Here in Massachusetts, a life insurance death benefit is included as part of your taxable estate. And that can be used to assess estate taxes against you. By using one of these life insurance trusts, we can take a life insurance policy, put it into one of these trusts, and exclude those funds from your taxable estate. So even if you have $1 million life insurance policy, we can completely pull that out of your taxable estate and save hundreds of thousands of dollars just by having this really effective tool in place. Realty trusts are another type of trust that can be used to hold real estate. When we're talking about rental properties, we have many clients that own multiple rental properties. They want to be able to earn income from renting these properties out, but at the same time we're trying to limit liability if, God forbid, one of the tenants falls down the stairs and decides to sue. The realty trust helps us separate the individual's personal liability from the funds and the property in the trust. If a tenant falls down the stairs and sues, they can only sue the trust, not the individual owner. Therefore, you don't have to worry about your retirement money or your kid's college fund being used to pay off a tenant that's had an accident. The last type of trust that I will mention is one of the most complicated trusts that we do, and that trust is called a Medicaid trust. That trust is used to help individuals protect their home from long-term care. To learn more about that, make sure you watch our other video series about paying for long-term care. I'll talk in detail about Medicaid trusts in that video. Make sure you watch our next video about trust funding. You can have the best written trust in the world, but if you don't fund it properly, you can render the whole thing useless. Trust funding is an often forgotten step, and it is hugely important. So make sure you watch the next video in our series where this important step is discussed.